Today we continue to listen Silavanta Sutta. In this Sutta, Brahma asked a question to Venerable Sayadaw. The question was, what are the things that the virtuous bhikkhu should carefully attend to? And Venerable Saripurra answered, Friend Kutika, the virtuous bhikkhu should carefully attend to the 5 aggregates subject to clinging, upadana khanda as impermanence, as suffering, as a disease, and so on. So we need to understand what is Upadana khanda. Upadana and khanda. We should understand what is upadana, clinging. Upadana clinging means firmly holding on to something. When clinging to something, you take hold of it and do not let it go. Buddha teaches that clinging is of 2 kinds. Clinging is a mental state, and with that mental state, we cling to objects. Suppose you see something beautiful. When something is beautiful, you desire it, and you have a strong craving to possess it. In this case, you cling to the object by strong craving, and also wrong view can cause clinging to objects. Sometimes we have wrong views about objects. We think that they are permanent. We think that they possess a self or a soul, or we may have wrong views about ourselves. We may think we have a soul, we have a self, or we may take being to be self or soul. When we apply these kinds of wrong views to objects, we are clinging to them. So we can cling to an object with strong craving or with wrong views. So there are 5 aggregates: meta aggregates, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, volitional formation aggregates, and consciousness aggregates. When they are objects of clinging, they are called aggregates of clinging, upadana khanda. We need to understand these 5 upadana khanda. It is mind and matter. You are observing continuously in this retreat. We can find the 5 aggregates when we see something. When we see something, there is something to be seen. A visible object, rupa ramana. There are eye sensitivity through which the object is seen. Chakupasara, eye sensitivity, retina. And then there is seeing consciousness, which arises when the object to be seen comes to the avenue of the eye sensitivity. So the seeing consciousness arises, and when we see with that consciousness. Chakku Vijnana. So now, how many aggregates when you see? The things we see is meta aggregate, Rupu Padanakanda, conscious aggregates, Vijnani Padanakanda. And when we see something, it can be pleasurable, Sukha Vedana, not pleasurable, Dukkha Vedana, or neutral, Upekha Vedana. We might think it is good to see this object, or it is not good to see it. So, feeling is also involved when we see something. And whenever we see an object, the mind or a state of mind makes a mental mark of that object, so it can be recognized when we experience it later. So perception, sinya, also is involved in the act of seeing. Sinyu Padanekanda. And there are mental states that exist to make some effort to see, to bring this seeing consciousness to completion. Though it is very subtle, if you really mindful, if you really watch your mind, you will notice that there is a kinds of activities or exertion in the mind to see, to hear, and so on. So that is Sankara, volitional formation aggregates. Sankaru Paranekanda. So we do not need to look in books to find the five aggregates, five Upadanekanda. Five aggregates of clinging or five aggregates can be found in our own experience. In the experience of seeing, you can find all five aggregates. Rupadanekanda, Vedanupadanekanda, Sinupadanekanda, Sankarupadanekanda, and Vinyanupadanekanda. So you have paper note. Please look at your paper, Silavanta Sutta, paper note. So need to remember, can you follow me? Number one, at the moment of seeing, the eye and an object of sight are Rupu Padanekanda. At the moment of seeing, the eye and object of sight are Rupu Padanekanda. Feeling pleasant or unpleasant of seeing is Vedanu Padanekanda. Feeling pleasant or unpleasant of seeing is Vedanu Padanekanda. Recognizing or remembering the object, the visible object, is Sinu Padanekanda. Recognizing or remembering the visible object is Sinu Padanekanda. Exercising the will to see and turning the attention on the visible object is Sankaru Padanekanda. Exercising the will to see and turning the attention on the visible object is Sankharuparanekanda. Just knowing that an object is seen is Vinyanuparanekanda. Just knowing that an object is seen is Vinyanuparanekanda. Remember, whenever you see the instruction is you have to note seeing, seeing, seeing. You need to capture the phenomena arising at that moment and disappear immediately. At the moment of seeing, eye sensitivity, retina is very clear, and the object of sight is clear. You can capture these eyes, sensitivity, and visible object. Sometimes object is agreeable and feeling pleasant. Sometimes the object is undesirable, unpleasant feeling. That kinds of feeling also arises immediately and disappear very fast. And then you recognize or you remember the visible object, that is Sinyu Padanakanda, that is perception aggregates. And you exercise the will to see, and you turn your attention on the visible object, that is Sinkharu Padanakanda. And just knowing that an object is seen is Vinyanu Padanakanda. These psychophysical phenomena of mind and matter or Upadana arises only that moment and disappear immediately. The meditator have to observe, meditator have to note, seeing, 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 so that you can capture the true phenomena of Namarupa, mind and matter, or psychophysical phenomena of Upadana. So as soon as you see the object, you have to note seeing, 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 so that you can capture the true phenomena of Namarupa, mind and matter, or Upadana. If you can note, if you cannot note, you may cling to this object. This is permanent, it is beautiful, it is I see, etc. You may cling to this object with wrong views. And also when you hear, you have to know hearing, so that you can capture the true phenomena of mind and matter. So number two, at the moment of hearing, 5 aggregates of clinging are there. So we have to note these kinds of phenomena correctly. So number two, can you follow me? At the moment of hearing, the ear and the sound are Rupupadanakanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of hearing is Vedanupadanakanda. Recognizing or remembering the sound is Sinupadanakanda. To will to hear the sound and turning the attention towards it, Sinkharupadanakanda. Just knowing that a sound has been heard is Vinyanupadanakanda. So at the moment of hearing, you have to note hearing continuously and precisely, so that you can capture the eardrums from which you hear the sound, and sound wave, you can capture it. Sound wave is striking to your eardrums. You can capture eardrums or sound wave. Mostly yogi capture the sound wave. Sometimes pleasant sound, pleasant object, and pleasant feeling, and undesirable sound, unpleasant feeling. So the pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling or neutral feeling of hearing is Vedanupadana Khanda. You recognizing the sound or remembering the sound is Sinupadana Khanda. And to will to hear the sound wave and turning the attention towards the sound is Sinkarupadana Khanda. Just knowing that a sound has been heard is Vinyanupadana Khanda. So as soon as you hear, you have to note hearing, and any phenomena or any Upadana Khanda, you can capture it. And as soon as you hear, sound disappear. Hearing consciousness disappear. When meditator is very meticulous, they can capture these kinds of phenomena, and they realize that the sound wave disappear and hearing process disappear, and there will be no clinging to these sounds or something. So meditator is free from mental defilements when he really mindful of the sound. And also you are aware, you are mindful everywhere, every time, every phenomena. Whenever you eat, you have to note eating, or tasting. So at the moment of tasting, the tongue sensitivity and the taste are rupa upadana khanda. You can capture it if you really mindful. And feeling pleasant or unpleasant, the taste is vedana upadana khanda. That's vedana feeling arise at that moment, and at that moment it disappears. You recognize and remember the taste is senya upadana khanda, that is senya, and also it disappears very fast. You exercise the way to taste, and you turn your attention towards the taste, is sankara upadana khanda, and just knowing that an object of taste is vijnana upadana khanda. So when you really mindful in eating, you can capture the true phenomena of tasting, and there is no liking or disliking when you eating, and you will be free from attachment and clinging when you are really mindful in eating. And touching, there are many touch sensations in our body. Yeah, we have to mindful whenever you are sitting, touching, sitting, touching. When you are standing, you have to note standing, touching many touch sensations in your body when standing, and when you stand, when you lie, when you walk, when you stretch, when you bend. There are many touch sensations in our body, and they can be detected by paying close attention to what is happening at the present moment. Here, a touch includes the feeling of heat. When you feel cold, that too is a touch. When you are aware of the rising and falling movements of the abdomen, those movements are touches. And if pressure is felt there, that also is a touch. In touching something, the five aggregates can be experienced in that touch. You already know that earth elements, air elements, fire elements, and water elements are four great elements forming the basic of all matter. Now, by watching what is happening at the present moment, you can develop vipassana insight knowledge and penetration into the true nature of mind and matter. For instance, making a bodily movement begins with your mind's desire to move. You want to move, so there is desire or intention to move. Minute properties of the air or wind elements material are produced by this intention to move. When there is the desire to move, your mind produces new particles of the air elements that outnumber the old particles which disappear. This increase of the air elements is what we call movement. According to the exact teaching of Abhidhamma, there is nothing that moves. What seems to be moving is only the increase of the material properties, the particles of air elements caused by desire to move. Every movement, though it seems to be movement, is not a movement at all, according to Abhidhamma. It can be proved when you go to a movie, you think that the pictures on the screen are moving, but you know that there are no moving pictures. They are all still pictures projected one after another in sequence. When you see the screen, the illusion is created in your mind that the pictures are moving. Actually, they are not moving. What is moving is in your own imagination. You imagine all of these separate static images to be flowing continuity, forming a whole, and then you think that the pictures are moving. In the same way, when you move your hand, it is not the hand that moves, but the increase of material properties of the air elements caused by your desire to move. This may be seen through your practice of vipassana meditation continuously and precisely. When you make notes of the rising and falling of the abdomen, you are actually noting the air elements because its function is movement, which is included in the sense of touch. And the air elements is included in the sense of touch. So when you are aware of the movements of the abdomen rising and falling, you are experiencing a kind of touch. In that experience also, you can find the 5 aggregates: metta, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Actually, they can be found in every experience, and these 5 aggregates can be clung to by way of strong craving, upadana, or by way of wrong views. It is why they are called upadana aggregates of clinging, aggregates subject to clinging, or aggregates objects of clinging, Pinchupadana. So yogi need to mindful every sitting, standing, stretching, bending, walking, lying down, every bodily behavior, you need to be aware thoroughly and precisely. So you have paper note, page number 2, number 3, At the moment of touching, you have to note touching. So what you can capture the rupa and nama, psychophysical phenomena. Can you follow me? At the moment of touching, the sensation surface and the impact of the touch are rupa paranekanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling or touch is Vedanu paranekanda. Recognizing or remembering the touch is Sinu paranekanda. Exercising the will and turning the attention to accomplish the act of touching is Sinkaru paranekanda. Just knowing that an contact has been made is Vinyanu paranekanda. So if the touch is good or bad, you have no liking or disliking because you are mindful every bodily movement, every sitting, every standing, walking, stretching, bending, or physical behavior. You try to be aware thoroughly so that you can capture the true phenomena arising and disappearing very immediately. And also thinking. So it is these aggregates of clinging that we have to watch and to be mindful of in order to get free from suffering. When you are thinking of something, the five aggregates are present. When you are thinking, you are not seeing with your eyes or, or hearing with your ears. You are thinking with your mind. When you are seeing something in your mind, you are hearing something in your mind, and so on. Object seen or object heard in your mind is called past object. If you are, if they are visible objects or audible objects, they belong to meta aggregates. So consciousness also must have a base from which to arise. If you do not have the eye sensitivity retina, there will be no seeing consciousness. If you have no eardrums, there will be no hearing. And thinking consciousness also needs a seat or a base. According to Abhidhamma, its base is Tarayavitu, heart base, especially the blood in the heart. Whenever you think, you have to know thinking disappear very quickly. The moment you capture the thinking, it disappears. Important is to note the thinking. Don't give favor to the thinking. Give favor to the noting. So at the moment of thinking, there are five aggregates of clinging. Can you follow me? Number 4. At the moment of thinking, the material body forms the basis of thinking. At the moment of thinking is Rupupadanakanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of thinking is Vedanupadanakanda. Recognizing or remembering the objects of thought is Sinupadanakanda. Mental urging and inclination to accomplish the acts of thinking, saying, or doing is Sinkaru Paranekanda. Just being conscious of thinking is Vijnanu Paranekanda. thinking arises due to condition and disappear very fast, so you do not cling to the clinging thinking. So in thinking, there is no I, no you, no person, no individual. It's come and go very quickly. So whenever you think, you have to know thinking, so that there will be no attachment, no clinging to the thinking. So we will continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discussion for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting rising, falling, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future. Sadhu, sadhu.